Hi everyone, welcome to ASPnet MVC interview questions. Nowadays, as a .NET developer, MVC is very popular and maximum all the companies are focusing on ASP.NET MVC with ASP.NET Core. So many students are requesting me to please prepare the interview questions. So that is the main reason why we started today this live. Is it clear? So first of all, .NET is popular to develop mostly two types of applications, desktop applications and web applications. Is it clear? So we can develop web applications in two ways. One is by using ASP.NET, other three ways, ASP.NET, ASP.NET MVC, and nowadays ASP.NET Core. That is also very powerful. Is it almost ASP.NET is dead? Basic level is ASP.NET MVC and then ASP.NET Core. These two are very powerful. So minimum knowledge is ASP.NET MVC is very important. So today we're discussing about the interview questions on ASP.NET MVC. So what is the first question? What is MVC? Generally, MVC is a design pattern. Design pattern is a ready-made solution for already existing problems. So generally, all the frameworks are developed by following these design patterns. So there are different types of frameworks that are available. Like you can consider something like ASP.NET MVC. ASP.NET MVC is a framework. What is ASP.NET MVC means? Simply you can tell ASP.NET MVC is a framework. Framework is a software pattern actually. ASP.NET MVC is a framework. Is it clear? MVC is a design pattern. ASP.NET MVC is a framework. Similarly, Spring is a framework. Similarly, Angular JS is a framework. Angular is a framework. React JS is a framework. So these all frameworks are developed by following this MVC design pattern. .NET framework is ASP.NET MVC. So ASP.NET MVC is a framework which was developed by following MVC design pattern. Spring is a framework. Spring MVC is a framework which was developed by following MVC design pattern. Angular JS, it is also a framework that was developed by following MVC design pattern. So an interview point of view, if interviewer will ask you what is MVC, simply you can tell model view controller. MVC is a software architectural pattern for implementing user interfaces that divides the given software application to three major components, that is model, view, and controller. So model always represents data, view always represents design, controller will always try to accept the request. Is it clear? So generally basic MVC architecture is what something like this. Here your total application is divided into different layers. One is, here you have controllers. Control is nothing but a class actually. Class, the name of the class I'll give as something like employee controller. And here controller consists of action methods. Class consists of variables and what? Methods. We already know that one. So controller consists of action methods. Is it clear? Just I will refresh the concepts along with FAQs. And here view. View is nothing but .cshtml. View consists of view main purpose is to write some designing code. Design code and presentation logic. And some presentation logic. And coming to model. Model is also nothing but a class. Model consists of properties. Your total application is divided into different layers, model, view, and what? Controller. It consists of properties. Main purpose of this model is to transfer the data between the layers. And coming to here, you have, this is MVC actually, but in application development, we'll try to write some service layer. Service layer, it is also nothing but a class. Class service layer. And this service layer, here we'll try to write, okay, methods. And this methods will write some business logic. Service layer consists of methods. In this methods, we'll try to write some business logic. Okay, business logic means application related business logic, like calculating the employee total salary, calculating the DA, HRA, calculating the total marks, percentage of marks. This type of logic we'll try to write. Business logic. And here you can take one more layer called DAO layer, data access object, or DAL, data access layer, whatever it may be, service layer and data access layer. And mostly this data access layer will try to write some data. It is also consists of methods. All are classes only. All class consists of methods. And in this methods, we'll write some database connectivity code, ADO.NET code, or entity framework code, or some nowadays you can use Dapper code you can write. And here you can write some, these all are the technologies and frameworks which are used to communicate with the database. So when you develop any application, your total application is divided into different layers. This is your browser. Your total application you have to keep in server. This total in olden days, total application is available in a single page, a single file. If you go to ASP.NET support a concept of partial classes. Partial class means defining multiple classes with same name. That concept is called as partial class. The main aim of this partial class, at compile time, all these partial classes will become as a single class. The main aim of introducing this partial class is Microsoft main vision is developer, you write half code, I will write the remaining half code. You write the designing code. I will write the designing code. Simply in ASP.NET, you have toolbox. You simply drag and drop the controls. Then automatically the code will be generated. That is designing code. And you write the business logic code, database connectivity code, some integration logic, something like that. Presentation logic, all these code you can write. Presentation logic means what? Catch the values, catch the input values and store in some variables. That is presentation logic. Sir, now when the user will enter the values in the text boxes, we need to catch that values, like text box 1 dot text, text box 2 dot text, like that we need to catch the values. But in ASP.NET MVC, and display the output of your HTML output you have to display in the browser. That logic also you can write inside the view only. So in MVC, your total application divided into different layers: model, view, and controller. So controller is the main heart of MVC. So this is your browser. So when browser will send the request, controller will accept the request. Controller only will communicate with view as well as with model, and the controller will interact with service layer. Service layer will interact with the DAO layer, and this DAO layer will communicate with the database. Your total application divided into different layers. All are classes only. DAL is a class. It consists of methods. Only database connectivity code you write inside this DAL. Business logic code you write inside this service layer. Business logic code you can write inside this service layer. Navigation logic you can write it. Navigation logic you can write inside this controller. Controller is like heart. It will tell that like a traffic signal. If the request is coming from the browser, controller will accept the request. Controller will communicate with view. Controller will communicate with model. Controller will communicate with service layer, and service layer will communicate with DAL. DAL will communicate with database. Database will again send the result back to DAO. DAO will send the result back to service layer. Service layer will send the result back to controller. Controller will intimate to view. Now in all this process, if you want to transfer the data between these layers, means browser to controller, controller to service layer to DAO layer. If you want to transfer the data between the layers, then we will transfer the data in the form of objects. So object is created for this model class. So model is a class. It consists of what? Data. Just purpose of model is to transfer the data between the layers. That is very simple. But interview point of view, if interviewer will ask you what is MVC, simply you can tell MVC is a design pattern. Design pattern is a ready-made solution for already existing problems. ASP.NET MVC is a framework that was developed by following MVC design pattern. The main aim of it is an architectural design pattern to implementing the user interfaces that divides the given software into three major components: model, view, and controller. That's the simple question. If possible, you try to show the diagram also, what I showed you. The next important interview question: what is the difference between ASP.NET and ASP.NET MVC? So both are used to develop the web applications only, but that is old approach. This is the latest approach. And here ASP.NET is tightly coupling because they support the concept of partial classes, defining multiple classes with same name. Partial class means defining multiple classes with same name and with different at compile time, all these partial classes will become as a single class. Are you following? That is tightly coupling. Tightly coupling means creating the object of one class inside another class directly manually by using new keyword. That is tightly coupling. But nowadays the concept is loosely coupling came. IOC containers came that you'll understand in .NET Core, or even you can implement IOC in ASP.NET and MVC also. Okay, that is different issue. So interview point of view, what is the main difference between ASP